It's the Jungle Brothers podcast. Let's go. Strength, movement, mobility, gyms, people in the park, PTs. We're drinking the coffee. It's Paulie and I. It's mid-lockdown. What are we, third week?
Third week, yeah.
Third week. This was the extra week that was added on, and now we're anticipating that it's going to be end of the month.
Correct, another 2.
When do we find that out? When does it get confirmed?
I don't know, later this week.
It seems everyone just knows, yeah, it's going to be longer.
Mm-hmm.
But we're here, it's the two of us. It was a horrible rainy day, but now the sun's come out. Paul and I have just been having to catch up because we don't actually get to catch up as much as we'd like to, or we used to, because, we're not working side to side in the gym anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But now that the lockdown is on, we're not at the gym as much anymore. It's kind of all happening remotely, isn't it?
Correct, Amundo. But they can't hold us back.
They can't stop us.
We'll always get drawn back together.
Tell me what's happening on your end with the gym stuff. I know that there's changes going on sort of all the time. What's the latest?
We're just continuing to do, what our mission is, which is building strong people, building a confident and adaptable community here, providing that space for that community. We're doing that thing. So, as the changes come in, we just change with them. We've got our Zoom classes happening. We've got our coaches out there talking to all the members, trying to basically meet them at whatever their needs are. We've got an online program coming out for the members only to follow along to bridge, any training gaps. We just basically want to keep people in their routine and moving. We know that it might not be a time where we're making, huge gains necessarily, but we all know, in this shitty time, we've got to stay connected with people. And we want to keep moving just for health and for mental health as well. So we're just providing the thing.
It's cool. Yeah, it's not, I share that view. It's not really, I'm not really concerned about making gains in my training. I'm just kind of like, it is one time where I'm like happy to be maintaining what I got.
Yeah.
We normally hang shit on this idea of maintaining because the people that are saying it, you're like, maintaining what? but it's like just keeping it up, like moving the joints, loading the body, keeping your levels of strength, getting a bit of a sweat on, like 3, 4, 5 times a week. Awesome.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I'm the same. It's cool. I like this time. The sessions for myself changes a little bit. And also the sessions, say, for my one-on-ones can change a bit. If you're really set on a goal, we can keep chasing that goal now that we're out in the park. Like, there's ways around that for sure. But if it's not necessarily the case, it's a fun time to go off track a little bit, explore some other areas and do some other stuff that you can't necessarily do indoors in the gym. And hell, the weather's been damn fine for it. So I'm enjoying it.
What do you find in the simplifying of the sessions, because the outdoor kind of vibe, what have you been going towards? Like, what have been the sort of staples exercise-wise?
A lot has been similar. Locomotion has been something I've been going towards. This morning I was at the basketball court. It was sunny as. We had the Sonos. I was with Clay from One Drop, and it just begs for floor work. And you've got space for it, and you've got lines on the court that you can follow. You've got a wall there, so you'll use that wall or that thing to step up on. Locomotion is probably a good one that I've been going to.
I remember when I used to run the original JB classes, or one of the original forms, at Prince Alfred Park, and we trained on the basketball court there.
Oh, yeah.
We did a lot of locomotion.
I love that park.
That's a cool park. The basketball court was always so photogenic. We'd be training, the sun would be coming up, that's flat. I remember I've got great photos like on the Facebook and stuff from back then. Everyone's crawling, training, doing whatever. Like, it was just a very aesthetic vibe.
There is a very specific angle in the mornings, only because I've driven that route so many times, where the sun comes up over the city and over the train tracks.
Yeah.
Because Central's the tunnel and you're towards Redfern Station there.
Yeah.
So the sun comes, it creeps over and it just like backlights all of the cables, and the courts comes over the top of the court. It's so nice.
Yeah, even being on that court with the train track, hearing the trains come through, there's something almost like, it's almost cinematic, because it takes you back to like watching films set in the Bronx, or you know what I mean?
Or Speed Street.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fucking cool.
Oh, good spot.
Man, I've been digging. I really go back to kettlebells around this time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, actually, kettlebells, rings, and handstands.
Yep.
I've used, handstands for me. For the people I'm training who aren't that into handstands, it's like I got 1 or 2 kettlebells, and it's amazing. I got like a light one and a heavy one, and you can just do everything pretty much. You can find a way. Even if the kettlebell's too light, you can find a way to make the exercise selection harder. So you're still hitting the same part of the body.
Yeah, man. There's complexes that you can do that make it fun, mix the movements, higher volumes, locomotion with the goddamn kettlebell. We did a bit of some lunging and stuff like that.
That's cool.
Yeah, man.
How's the feeling of morale around the traps with the coaches, with the tribe?
Yeah, it's good this week. In a way, I think, well, for me, definitely, it's a bit of relief to know that we're, what the rest of this week and then 2 more weeks holds. Whereas before it was just like, that relationship you're in where someone's really stringing you along a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
You're kind of waiting for them to make their move.
You're like, I know she's going to dump me.
Yeah.
She's definitely. I don't want to prompt it.
Yeah. And now that whatever, it looks like it's more permanent. We can all kind of stop relying on the fact that it's probably going to end soon, and it's like, let's just keep going on. So I feel very much that attitude's like, thank God we're in it for a while, and truthfully, we probably should have been in it harder from the start. If we actually want this thing to go away, it's what's necessary. So it's like, fuck it, let's do it. At least we can have some clarity there and make adjustments. And I just want to get into a bit of a routine, even for the 2 weeks. Maybe it's 3, I don't know. Get a routine and just be doing the thing. It was just too uncertain before, So because of that, I think the morale's up and people are like, yeah, well, let's just get on with it,
Yeah, from the outside, I don't think people would see the difficulty in the changing of restrictions for a business like ours. It's really, like for any small business, it's really tricky because, or actually I'm going to say for a business like ours in particular, because we've got so many people and they're subscribing to the business, they pay a membership. And so as the restrictions change, you have to find ways to innovate what you're offering. But to communicate that means emails, social media, Facebook posts, phone calls, text messages on an ongoing basis. So there's like this lag in bringing people up to speed with, hey, now we're doing small groups in the park. It's only 9 people. Like, here are the session times, blah, blah. And then 7 days later, when maybe you finally started to get that message across, they're like, restrictions are changed. No more small groups. It's all online. And then you're like, okay, guys, new deal. Like, I mean, I was, last time it happened, I was in there with you helping with the email, like, doing the thing. Now I see you guys just doing it. And I'm like, oh man, it's a stress. I remember what it was like last lockdown. I was like, fuck, you're just trying to communicate to all these folks and you wish you could just have them all here in the gym where you normally talk to them.
Yeah.
It's so easy, right? In a sense.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just wanted to paint that picture because I think for a lot of people, they just see your messages and they see your posts and they're like, oh, guys are doing a great job.
Yes.
But it's important to know that like there's a bit of a shit fight at times that goes on
for sure,
in order to allow that to come across clearly.
Absolutely. And not even mentioning the financial juggle that you got going on behind that to help make those decisions. So the bloody government comes out with this and then we're like, okay, well, what does that mean for our business? So we're trying to, deliver options or an action off the back of that. That when you're trying to anticipate what's gonna happen next, so you're trying to action it in a way that makes everything financially viable, as well as makes sense for the members, as well as for your coaches, etc. Yeah, it's a joyous ride. And then, like you said, when they changed, we were organising, for the listeners, we were organising to have outdoor classes as well as Zoom classes, and this was something that we were working on for 4 days or something, getting the timetable changed, buying some technology, staffing that out. And then just as we were about to drop the news to the members, they just changed the restrictions on us and was like, now you can only have 2 people, and we just threw that whole idea in the bin. So, you know, we sooked for about 30 minutes, maybe 45, and then we're like, fuck it, what are you going to do? It actually kind of made it easier, you know, so yeah.
Yeah, that's the small business vibe, isn't it? Feelings of futility. At times you're like, fuck, those last 4 days were for nothing.
What are you going to do though?
Yeah, that's right. You either go forward or you whatever, fall behind and
Yep.
things collapse.
Yes.
So, which, you know, maybe a little bit relevant to what we're going to talk about shortly. I really enjoyed last week's episode with Lex.
Me too.
She's such a fucking legend.
She's such a beast.
Yeah. She's just, I don't know, there's an energy there that's like an openness when you chat with her, and it's just, it's really nice to be around.
I'd love to visit her at her gym, at, you know, where she works at, and
98.
and, you know, I don't spend enough time in other gyms, and I'd love to do that in the next half of the year.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I get some sessions with people, just meet with people, see what's going on out there, you know.
Yeah, I think it's an awesome thing to do because, man, there's so many they're like little micro environments that, yeah, we're in our one here, but there's like these cool things going on everywhere, and you just pick up little things and get nice little exchanges.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it's going to look like, but definitely need to go out and see what she does firsthand. You know, do some of her classes, and I don't know what she's like. Is she like a premier female women's coach in Australia or what? She does some big names like.
Yeah, I think so. Well, I mean, I would imagine so. I also know that talking premier, like the people that train, like, you know, depending how you define it, but say training celebrities and stuff. I've also known some coaches over the years who work with, you know, A-listers and celebs, and they're by no means premier.
Sure.
They're just right place, right time, market themselves towards that niche, and then get the connections, and then whatever they're in.
Go on, name names, Joe.
I can't. I'll tell you one story. I had a guy who was kind of, when I worked at Anytime Fitness, who was bugging me for a job. And he was a young dude, big like Instagram influencer back when it was pretty early on in the Instagram game. And I got him a gig, and he was like, oh, I don't have, you know, I need some stuff to get started. Like, so I was like, oh, look, here's a bunch of programs I've written. Like, you can just take them. And I gave him my spreadsheets and templates. And then like, I kind of got an inkling when like 12 hours later, he's posting my templates, like photos of my templates on his Instagram, being like, I love creating programs for my clients. And I'm like, you didn't even change the color of the fucking like headline, you know?
Oh my God. That's great.
And he went on to become like a really well-known PT training big name clients within like 18 months. He was a dog shit coach.
Oh,
Like, you know, call it what it is.
just write his name on that piece of paper there, Joe, and slide it across the table, and I'll say it.
But it was just like, but I was like, man, I can't hate on that. Like, whatever. He chased that thing down, and he got to that place. And that's, you know, that's his shtick. But I was like, yeah, it's just interesting when you see it. It's like sticking to your guns in terms of quality won't always necessarily get you to a place if that's where you're trying to go to, right?
Yeah.
We could, like, it's never been the goal for me. It's never been the goal for us to train whatever celebs, but just watching that and then seeing the accolades that come around that, and like, oh wow, this person must be a really incredible trainer. And it's like, no, not at all. You could find more incredible trainers like in most other gyms, pretty much every gym.
Yeah.
You know, which I don't know, just goes, it speaks somewhat to quality within the fitness industry, I think.
I asked that because about Lex, because I thought, oh man, I was sitting there thinking I would love her to PT Tash. And like, Tash is my wife. She is logistically, like, we're on the other ends of Sydney, but it'd be so cool. I'd love her to see Tash, you know, once a week or something somehow down the line. So I'm like, her books full is really hard to get with Lex, because that would be so cool, man.
Dude, that would be, yeah, I hear.
Because I think
she'd be a great mentor kind of.
Yeah, because she isn't one of those coaches that you're talking about that, you know, whatever, coaches A-listers but is dog shit. Because she's quality, she knows her shit. She's studied all these years and continues to evolve, and then she's got that wisdom and that eye and stuff that, you know, I can only see from the conversations that we have. But yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, she's definitely on the good end of the spectrum.
Hell yeah.
That would be cool.
Yep.
Mate, hit her up.
Hit her up.
Book a couple sessions. That's all it takes.
Yeah, man.
T's closing in on a location. I thought I'd just give the people an update on that. I won't say where the location is because he hasn't signed a lease yet, but it looks 99.9%.
If T was here, he'd be telling all the details of it.
God. Has he cornered you over the phone yet and give you the rundown?
Yeah, yeah.
It's like a 45-minute spiel.
No, I didn't get that one. I got the 20-minute.
I got the entire vision.
Okay, mad.
The gardens, the way the sun comes in.
Yeah.
What you can hear when you're out on the rings there.
So he speaks
smell.
He'll speak it into existence.
Yeah.
He will. No, he's so excited.
It's manifesting as we speak.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's looking really cool. And he's got Pavel and he's got Scotty, the wrestler and the acrobat. It's a bit of a dream team, and he's finding more people to bring on board.
There's Walshy up there as well.
Andrew Walsh.
One of our
Shout
members.
out to the big dog.
Moving into PTing himself.
Yep, career change.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it's actually really exciting. I want it to happen soon, and I want to be able to go there and hang out and be like, holy shit, this is the next chapter of this business.
Hell yeah.
You know?
Well, I'm up there in like 9 or 10 weeks.
What for?
We've been planning to be up there in September for a long time. Because Tasha's new job as a midwife had her without holidays for a year. So she hasn't had 2 weeks off since she started. It's been so we've known of this September dates for ages. And that's been our plan. We've already booked in with, you know, our other friends, you know, Eva and Caleb and Sam Davies and stuff up there. Going to go and hang out with them. And T's moved up and it's all just part of one big party trip. But he reckons that, He said to me, mate, yeah. I said, you might even have that up when I'll be able to come and take a look at it. He was like, yeah, mate, if you're lucky, I think that when you're up there for the holiday, you'll be cutting floor mats with me and fitting out the gym. I was like, yeah, fact. No way. No, but yeah. It could be. It could happen really quickly.
That's cool.
When you sign a lease, you want to open up ASAP. And yeah, man, he's motivated. He's got his crosshairs out. And he's going to kill it up there.
It's fucking awesome.
Mm.
Update on that, which is the Jungle Alliance piece. We had our coaches intensive coming up next month, but due to the lockdown, I've actually shifted the dates. I think I've shifted it to early October. I'll confirm those dates later for folks, if anyone's listening who's interested in that. You will be updated duly through the social media and through the email. But I just wanted to push it because it felt too close to this lockdown. And I don't know, the lockdown kind of hits pause on a lot of people's lives. So it didn't seem like the best time to run an event like that, coming straight out of the back of it.
Can you tell us, like, for anyone who's like coaches or aspiring gym owners, etc., are listening, you were talking to me earlier about T's story. Can you just tie in what he's doing there into like how that relates to the Jungle Alliance, and then maybe comment on like how you might tell that story? Because I think that's quite a cool thing that could be coming up.
Yeah, for sure. Well, the Jungle Alliance, in short, is the next chapter of our business, the Jungle Brothers. And it's our effort to create a union between passionate coaches and gym owners and aspiring gym owners who believe that they can change communities and change the world through strength and movement and education and community and all the stuff we do here. So we're creating a platform that allows all of these individuals to be connected. So instead of satellite gyms where you get a young coach goes and sets up their own thing and, comes up with their own programming and own social events, and maybe they get access to good information through someone they know, or they have another friend who owns a gym. It's like, let's pull all of that information into one place because we're all essentially on the same mission. Now, the beauty of it is that you don't have to do exactly what we do. You just have to share our values. So it has to be environmentally minded. You have to believe that the best training methodology is ever evolving. You have to agree with, a little bit of weightlifting, a little bit of body weight strength, a bit of mobility, a bit of fighting. But you can take those things and morph them into whatever your passion is. So you get a gym owner that's like, say here, you got someone like Ty, who's a breakdancer. He can create a breakdancing gym that does a little bit of body weight and strength training on the side. Like that would be Alliance certified. So we're creating that union. And so in that, Tiora is building the first gym that will really be the expression of all of that accumulated knowledge that we've amassed over our combined 30 years of owning and running a gym, to start from the beginning. Because what we have in our gym is really, it's a mishmash of mistakes and hurdles and overcoming obstacles and getting good information and bad information and, you know, to get to where we are. So that has allowed us to create, like, in essence, like a Bible of operations. All right, here's how to not make the fucking mistakes. T's taking the Bible and he's going to build it from day one and not make the mistakes.
Awesome.
So what that will do is that will demonstrate the template to another young gym owner. They can go, holy shit, all right, this is what it can be. This is how quickly it can grow. This is how fast it can be for a gym to get from a point of opening its doors to a point of breaking even, to a point of the coach making a healthy income, to a healthy community here of individuals who are becoming strong and mobile and having a great time doing it. That's what his will be for the Alliance. So as he's building that, we're building out this platform, which has a piece of software connected to it. The gyms operate, they use the piece of software. And so it's pretty simple to become a part of all that. If you're like, that Alliance sounds fucking cool, I want in, there's two things you have to do. The first thing is you complete our coaches course, and that's simply come in for 2 days, learn everything that we believe it takes to become a world-class coach, and learn what it takes to run a successful fitness business. And at that point, we're talking about from a sort of a PT perspective. Right? So it's like, this is how you build your business, this is how you do your marketing, sales, programming. All right, let's talk about leadership, community, presentation, all that stuff. It's all wrapped up into 2 days. Once you've completed that course, the second step is to then apply to join the Alliance. And to apply to join is simple. All you got to do is submit a presentation to us, either by video or essay. And you're going to tell us why you think you're a good fit for it and why you think you could be an asset to the Alliance and what your dreams are in fitness and how you think that you're the kind of person that could one day lead your own fitness community. And then we go, yeah, cool, you're in or you're not, right? Like it's like, obviously, like our gym, we only want the right people to be a part of that. And the right people only want to be a part of it as well. Like it's for them and for us. And that's it. And once you're in, the platform provides education. It provides programming. It provides all of the information you need to go through the different stages of the timeline. So maybe you're a young PT just starting out. It's going to help you get to the point where you got your 10 first clients. Maybe you got a handful of clients already, but you're looking to get to a point where you can run some small groups. It'll take you there. Maybe you've done the PT thing really well and you want to open a gym. So it's like, all right, here's the education for that. So the idea is it just fosters those individuals at different stages of the game to get to wherever it is they want to go. And the if we boil it all down, it takes the risk and the uncertainty and the money wasting out of it for someone who's trying to start their own business. It's as simple as that.
That's so cool. That's so cool. Wow, that was a real Jungle Alliance side road we took there. But it makes so much sense. And that, I guess I want to say it to so that people understand what the hell is T doing, and just reinforcing that he's out there being that guinea pig of sorts. He's going to take the Bible that we have here. We're going to watch him grow, and we're basically there to support him. And he's like the first guy that does that. Now, you were talking about telling his story, and I know he made one post this week, and it got a lot of traction.
Standard.
It's standard.
You post once every 3 months.
That's right.
People give you a lot of sympathy likes. Hey, it's good to see you back. Double tap.
But you know, it's cool because when you're doing your thing here, you love to follow stories, and it'll be a good one. And you're thinking, you know, it'd be cool to have a media team with him. You know, how do we get in on this little build of this gym along with him, like the aspiring gym owner? How are you gonna do that? Because he's terrible at doing it.
Well, I mean, yeah. So for all of his, like, he's just not an avid social media user.
Yeah,
he's always there looking at shit.
Yeah,
but he's not posting a lot. So yeah, he did make a post this week about him and the two coaches, Scotty and Pavel, and what they're doing. But he loves filming things because he loves telling people the story of whatever the fuck he's doing in his life at that time. Whether it's building his garden.
He walks around with the camera and commentates.
Yeah, he loves
whips it around sometimes.
It's almost like when you go to a friend's house when you're a kid and their dad wants you to watch the VHS tapes of their 4-wheel driving trips. You know, and you're like, what the fuck are we watching this for?
Kids out there are like, VHS?
Yeah. What's video, guys? But so I had a friend in primary school and I stayed at his house on a Friday night. And, it's like normally you just play or whatever and then you go to bed. And then he's like, and his dad's like, get ready, kids, after dinner, we're watching the 4-wheel drive videos.
You're kidding me.
And I'm like, what? Like, this was my family. Like, 4-wheel driving was never a thing, obviously. And I'm like, what do you mean? And I said to my mate, and his sister had a friend staying over as well. And he's like, oh, like dad films all of our 4-wheel drive. Like he's got a camera mounted in the front of the car. This is in the 90s.
Wow.
Got a camera mounted in the front of the car and we go 4-wheel driving and he films it and we watch it. And I'm like, do we have to watch it? And he's like, yes. And I just remember sitting on the couch watching this fucking car go up and down along these dirt roads, shaking. I'm just like, this fucking sucks.
I'm never having a play date with you again.
Yeah. Mate, Greg, never again. Mate.
What a legend, that dad, by the way.
Yeah, 0 fucks given.
Yeah,
It'll probably be like me making Leo's mates watch my fucking blue belt competition matches on YouTube. This is when I was a killer on the mats. Check this shit out. Look at where I submitted this guy. Watch this. Anyways, but yeah, so T loves filming things, and so what I'm thinking is, whatever, say a month from now, when like he's going to be building, it's going to take a little while, but I'm gonna get up there and I'm gonna try and capture a bunch of footage with him, like a bit of interview stuff and a bit of footage of the build and whatever's going on while I can, and then I'm going to try and tell that story using the combination of interview footage and chatting with him, as well as the old footage that he's shot over the months, weeks.
Can be done.
But yeah, I think it can be done.
Totally.
I'm trying to turn myself into a bit of a content creator in that regard, because I do think the story is really entertaining and really informative.
Hell yeah.
I think like us talking about stuff here in our gym, like if you're also running your own gym or you're thinking about it, I think it's really nice to just be on the ground level with that as it's happening, so you can pick up these little nuggets of wisdom and exposure and understanding. So that's my goal, is to try and tell that story and create a YouTube channel around it.
Dude, I can't wait.
I mean, and featured on that, like I've spoken to you about, would be you and what you guys are doing here. Like all of it, because it's all
we're working really hard.
It's all relevant. Yeah, flat chat. Pallet of beers over here. But it's all relevant stuff to people who are trying to do the fitness game.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone has that. Oh, fuck. I'm sure someone has. We just haven't seen it. Someone's got a YouTube channel for their own gym. I'm sure. I think I've seen some of the MMA gyms definitely do. I mean, they got heaps of characters there at MMA gyms with lots of camaraderie, so pretty funny. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the content world's funny, right? I think if you have an inclination towards it and you just do it, it becomes a thing. It's a thing. But it can be hard, right? For us, he's so busy. The idea of like, hey, let's make a little video and then one of us can edit it and post it on YouTube. It's like, who's got time for that?
Yeah.
But now, like, well, no, this is important. This is a story to tell.
Yes.
And that's for me, that's a real part. I'm passionate with the Alliance idea, because what we're talking about now speaks to this thing, which is what you do as a small gym owner inside your 4 walls will never be known by anyone except you and your members. And I think for a lot of gyms out there, gym owners that we know who are doing incredible things, it is it's not good enough that other people don't know about it. Like the fact that your message is not inspiring people on other sides of the world, or other gym owners, in your community, other trainers, giving them, like, letting them see what you're doing and influencing the movement of fitness. I think what you're doing needs to be leveraged in that way, because it's special and it's unique.
Should be shared.
Yeah, so the Alliance gives that opportunity, because it allows some coach in some gym that's doing cool things to be able to share what they're doing with the rest of the Alliance.
So it's going to be an accelerator in a way.
Yeah, like it's a way for us to reshape the face of the fitness industry from the ground up.
Fuck yeah.
I want to change his face.
Yeah, I know. It's exactly what I thought of. To reshape the face. Mad.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does. And there you go. And Tiora Ward is up there fighting the good battle with a good team. I really want to get into the film industry stuff though.
Let's talk about it.
What do you want to talk about?
So I wanted to explore our past job, which if you've heard in a previous episode, we touched on it, T. Paul and myself.
Can I interrupt?
Please.
I've never had this on all the podcasts we've ever done. I've never had to go for a whiz that bad that I actually had to go.
You go.
Why don't you give people a bit of the background while I run down, try not to scribble it all over myself, and while I'm in a rush, and then I'll rush back up, and you just lay the landscape down.
All right, Dribbles.
All right, I'm gone.
But, mate, don't rush too bad because we've all had accidents. So here's the thing. Paul T and myself originally came from our mothers, but our working career after school was in the film industry. So we all got into it through kind of different means. Paul and I were good friends growing up. We knew each other from primary school. His older brother and my older cousin were best mates, and they kind of hooked us up as kids. So we used to skateboard together back in the day. Paul got into the film industry through his brother Moses, who was a gaffer, which is like a lighting director. So you have a lighting department, the gaffer's the big boss. Then they have their next in charge, which is the best boy. And you likely would have seen the title best boy on film credits. Been like, that's a funny one. And then you have lighting technicians or assistants sort of beneath that. They're like the foot soldiers. I got into it through my cousin Emma, who Ben's sister, because my family has a bit of a place in the film industry. So we both found our way into it. That was where we met T. And so for many years, we're kind of working sometimes together, but kind of parallel to each other. And I guess we were in it collectively. I was in it for about 10 years. Paul was in it probably for about 12 years.
17, bruh.
Oh, fuck.
The time was all done.
Bro, decent.
I'm back.
T was probably not far off that as well, I'm guessing. Maybe a bit less. But so we worked on TV commercials. We worked on big movies. We worked on small, shitty movies. All sorts of things. You're a freelancer. And so you work with some different gaffers, some different lighting crews. Sometimes you're the gaffer, but usually we were working underneath one. And you're going out working on these jobs and basically living the Hollywood life. Anyway, it's quite, when you tell people that, they're like, oh, wow, that's quite exciting working in the film industry. And in many ways, it is quite exciting. I do look back at certain parts of it very fondly, but there's also parts of it that are just shit. However, it's kind of like any job, to be honest. You hope that the good days outweigh the bad. But what I think is what I wanted to kind of touch on today is some of the lessons that we learned and how our time working in that industry has kind of equipped us to be able to do things now. One, I kind of find it kind of nice to reflect on that. But two, I think it's very relevant for people who are maybe coming into the gym game just to see a little bit of what's required. Because some of these skill sets or some of these sort of lessons that we learned, without them, I think that life could have been a lot harder running a small business such as the one we're running without having had those lessons. Would you agree?
Yeah, I'd agree. Yep. Yeah. I always, tend to look at the positive side of things. I mean, hindsight's great for that. But yeah, there's definitely shit that we learned and that just made the hard times here more manageable. And, COVID is kind of very good example of that. Having this thing change in front of us last year, really the hardest time was like, hell, what do we do with it now? And what does it all mean? And going from having a gym that was running for many years in one mode, and then all of a sudden it's like first time in forever, it was shut for like so long and things were very different. And then it was like, how do you react to that? I think the film industry definitely helped us through that alone. But yeah, along the way, for sure. I enjoyed my time there as well, for sure.
You loved it.
I loved it. Yeah, for sure. And I'll always be grateful for the time I spent there because of those lessons that I learned and the people that I met and the experiences that I had.
It's definitely unique. Like for whatever it is, it's kind of a privileged job to have had because it is so unique and it's very niche. Like it's not like there's a lot of opportunities to get into it. I do think that it's like you think back, you're like, man, there's some cool stories there. Tell me, like, paint a picture for folks, like working on a big movie. What's that setup look like? The team, the work hours. Just give me a little brief on that.
Working on a feature film, they could go anywhere from 3 to 10 months long, probably average at about 5-6 months. And these are movies that are, costing over $20 million and beyond and well beyond.
I mean, some of the big ones are hundreds, right?
Yeah, they're
Multiple
150 mil and stuff like that. Well, probably that was when we were in it. Since
it was like, well, this one's 100 milli.
Yeah, exactly.
Now it's like,
now like way more than that.
That's like a student film now.
yeah. But yeah, you'd have these big teams in each department, huge studios, big sets, long hours.
What kind of, like, long how? Like, what time are you starting?
Well, they're like standard 10-hour days with overtime. And it doesn't sound that bad for many people that do 10 hours with overtime, but there's always overtime. And it's not like you're going to the same office every day. It's like there's hours around the hours that you work, including travel, eating breakfast on site before you get there.
Was breakfast not included in the work hours? It wasn't, was it?
It's half of
breakfast.
our time, half of their time.
Yeah, right.
So it's like a half an hour. It's like, yeah. Plus, that type of job, there's a lot of free time that you give to that job, and it's simply what is just understood to get the job done and to stay working well with the team, which is, you get there fucking way earlier than you start, what time you start, and you open things up and you get ready for the day.
Put the beers on ice.
Ice. Yeah, that's it. And then you go to breakfast. So, they're long ass days, and often you're driving out to locations, fucking finding out where they are. Where do you park your car? They've got car parks, and they might be down the road, and you catch a shuttle bus to the freaking breakfast tent and where the base is. And it's long ass days, and it's sustained over a long period of time. When they shoot these films, they want to get them out as efficiently as possible. So when you're working on one of those films, it's like, that is your main priority in life. It's the only way that it can really exist. And they seek to use up all of that time during that shooting period, and they really know how to schedule the shit out of it. So yeah, you're just working at a high level for a sustained period of time. It's rather taxing.
Yeah, you could say that for the period of the 5 months you're on that film, there's nothing else going on in your life, is there?
No.
Like it's maybe you get a short weekend.
Yeah.
But often you're working Saturdays, which means you finish late on the Saturday, and then it's really just you wake up late on a Sunday and you fucking get a few hours of sunlight. Yeah.
Anything that you are doing outside of that in your life, you're not doing it very well at all.
Yeah.
You're doing it very poorly because you just can't do it. Relationships included.
Yeah. So that's tough. kind of the demanding aspect of the schedule. And I guess one of the things that I always come back to is being adaptable with a completely chaotic schedule. Like, I know for me, like, I did my taxes recently, and my accountant's like, so what's like, where are you at right now? Like, what's the setup? I'm like, oh, well, I'm doing a bit of PT, and then the gym was paying me for this period, but it's not anymore. But I got this other thing going on, and it's like it fucking changes every 6 months because my schedule's different every 6 months. If I go back like 18 months ago, I was coaching here like mornings. If I go back 6 months before, I was coaching nights. Like, there's this dynamic nature to like how our days operate, and I know like it's in a stage of being dynamic again. Say, with T and I no longer being employees of the gym, and you've taken the helm, but then it's changed again with COVID, right? Like, every time these things change, your schedule gets thrown into disarray. And I think for a lot of people working other jobs that are a little bit more consistent and a bit more standard, they don't really have that. It's like you start at 9, you finish at 5 or whatever. Start at 6, finish at fucking 4. I don't really think about it though, because from all those years in the film industry, excuse me, just belching. From all those years in the film industry, our schedules were so all over the place. Like you're at the whim of whatever the schedule is and wherever the location is, and you're just like changing the times that you get up and go to sleep. It was never solid.
No, it wasn't. And when I think about it, it was so funny how you always dream the grass is always greener. Oh, it'd be so good to have a 9 to 5.
Oh yeah.
Nice. Just go to the same place all the time. Know where you're at next year, next week, next month and stuff like that.
I mean, you still feel that? I still feel that.
Still feel that a bit. I mean, this for me is amazing, coming to the same place all the time. Being in the gym.
This is the closest it's been in a long time for all of us, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. You know, it also comes down to, I think, like, is it personality types? Is that or the way you're brought up, or the way that you kind of operate as a person in terms of, like, some people can handle a chaotic schedule better than others. Maybe they grew up in a more chaotic kind of environment and they're used to that sort of thing. You know, some people just can't keep still. They don't want to be in an office. Like, they know that inherently from the beginning.
Oh, T could not be in an office.
T could not be in an office. I guess.
But I think, I mean, you're right. I do think that upbringing has a part to do with that. But I think, like, if you can make it through the film industry as a freelancer with just being at the whim of the work.
Yes.
And adapting your life around that, I think that just conditions you to just be able to handle whatever.
Yeah, it's definitely good training. It's a bit like this idea of seeking discomfort type of thing. So if you want to evolve or you want to get better at say problem solving and figuring things out, then you need like disruptors. You need catalysts, things to change things up, little bits of adversity to figure out, and it's kind of like doses of that all the time. So it's like, what have we got now? What job am I on now? Where's this next location? And then, to go on to a shooting day itself and on set and the actual act of shooting, it's like, the weather's coming in. Okay, the schedule's changed.
Change your plan, guys.
Into the studio, pack everything back up. We're going back to blah, blah, blah. So there's definitely...
Hey, guys, next week we're switching to night shoots.
Correct.
We're on nights for the next fucking 3 weeks.
Yeah.
You're like, cool.
That's right. Yeah. So what, you had plans?
Yeah. Yeah.
We did not give a shit. Yeah. It definitely gave a good base for that. Like, it's like anything, I guess. If you haven't spent time around something, it's hard to have when that, like a kind of mode of being. Like, if you haven't seen that sort of chaos before, the first time that you see chaos, you're like, whoa, this is intense level of chaos. But if you've had an exposure to it and you've learned how to deal with it, then, when chaos comes around again, you're like, I know what this is. I recognize this. It's not as bad. I've seen worse. And, this is how you deal with it.
Yeah. I mean, I think, well, where's the relevance in operating a gym? And I think to your situation where it's like you're the head guy here, you're the boss, you're the leader, and whatever's happening, you have to fill the gap. So say right now you coach, you do sort of more PT in the mornings than you coach classes in the evenings. Mm-hmm. But say something fucks out in the mornings and you lose your best coach, and you're like, all right, I got to take the morning sessions. It's like, okay, cool. From next week or from tomorrow, I'm covering mornings. I've called all my PT people. I've shifted them. My sleep hours are now changing. Tash, this is what I'm doing. Dinner time's changed. Like, and you just do it. Like, no problem.
Yeah.
Whereas I think for a lot of people, that's maybe not inconceivable, but it's not something they've ever considered.
Yes.
And I think when you're coming into a small business, i.e. you want to run a gym, you have to be ready to be able to make those changes and not whinge about it.
Yeah, that's true.
Because your coaches can tell you, sorry, I can't do those classes anymore for whatever reason. And you have to be able to go, hey man, no worries. I got it covered. I'll cover it from tomorrow.
Yeah, that's absolutely true what you said. And I'm thinking, why is it that I would react like that, whereas someone wouldn't react like that? Like, I would be first take up arms, say, to get that, to keep delivering on that level. But say, there's the option where someone might go, we'll just have to cancel those classes then. We're just going to cancel. Like, where's that mentality? There's a big difference between the two.
Well, there is. I mean, I think obviously as the leader of this organization, the mission of the organization is the most important thing.
Well, that's why I was kind of getting to, which is like say having a greater purpose or a larger mission or having a goal set, you know, because I having that in mind, as you was mentioning that, I was thinking, why would I do that when I know like the option there is to cancel things and, you know, and people might take that road, you know, to take the easy way out for any shitty situation or change that comes up.
Gyms.
Yeah. But immediately I thought it's probably because I know there's a bigger goal and it's like, there's no way this is going to be that way because we've got other things to achieve, or I've got, you know, personally I've got, you know, I want to continue this gym growing and delivering that service and getting the coaches upskilled and having that attitude too, and, you know, realizing everything that we want to do with Jungle Alliance and stuff. So, yeah, I think that helps.
Yeah, I mean, it's you would say like, it just doesn't even enter your mind, does it? It's like, no, the show goes on. Cool, what do I need to do?
The show goes on. That's kind of a good way of putting it because that's also relevant to the film industry stuff. The show must go on.
Dude, I think back to one pivotal moment in the film industry, which was, it was on a job we were on together. So we were working in New Zealand. We were on Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. We'd been shooting for, I don't know, a good few months. And we were shooting down in Christchurch. What were we? We were like 90 minutes out of town or 2 hours out of town, shooting on this mountaintop. And we spoke about this on the last episode, that the mountain was, the whole crew that was shooting up there had to get helicoptered from the base camp. So it took us 2 hours to drive from our accommodation to the base camp. Then you had your breakfast and then you get in lines, and they had 2 or 3 helicopters that were ferrying like groups of 6 or 8 or whatever up to the mountaintop.
Arthur's Pass.
Arthur's Pass.
Yeah.
Amazing fucking place, right? Like unbelievable. And obviously a logistical nightmare. So leading up to that shoot, and we were up there for what, maybe a few weeks or something, or a month. It was a good stint. There was obviously a lot of preparation in terms of what equipment had to go up there. And I remember we had to get all of the equipment helicoptered up there, and we had a couple of shipping containers helicoptered up there full of equipment in preparation for us coming to shoot there. And I remember at that point talking with the gaffer, which is the boss of the lighting department. Don't need to name names. Shout out Scrawny. And and he was like, "Oh, mate, this location, like, there's no way we're taking anything above a 6K up there." And a 6K is like, a medium-sized lamp for us, isn't it?
Yeah.
And, you know, a 6K is like...
Doesn't do much outside on a mountain.
Yeah, and it was like, look, guys, this location is so remote. It's so fucking windy up there. The idea of us bringing up a lamp bigger than that is an absolute no-go, because if we put something up, we need fucking heavy duty stands. We need to have everything tied off with heaps of robes.
It was basically snowing while we were fucking up there.
Yeah, it was like, look, this is just a rugged location and we're just going to make do with what we have. And it was like, oh, beautiful. Like, we got a limited package, lightweight stuff, you know, not everyone's going up there, just the essential shooting crew. This is going to be awesome. And the 6K is like about the heaviest lamp you can carry by yourself.
Did we take a big boy up there in the end?
Well, I remember the day when the clouds rolled over and the director of photography, who's the boss of the camera, was like, you could see him talking to Sean, and he's like, I think you could hear him muttering, "Oh, we're going to need a bit more light in here." And we're like, oh shit. And then Sean jumps on the radio and he's like, guys, what's it going to take to get an 18K up here? Which is like 3 times fucking bigger than the 6K. It was the lamp that they said we'd never need. It's fucking heavy duty. You need huge power cables. You need multiple men to carry it. It's a shit fight. And I don't know who I was with, who I was standing next to at the time, but I'm like, surely it can't. Sean said nothing bigger than a 6K. And then Sean's like, guys, we need an 18K up here. I need an 18K. Let's get it now. And
That urgency in his
think,
voice.
Yeah, and I think the best boy's like, Sean, like that's going to take, like we're going to need the helicopter, like that's going to take some time. And Sean's response was, we need a fucking 18K up here or we're dead. And I was like, damn, that's a fucking leadership call if ever I heard one. We need an 18K or we're dead. And it was like, get a fuck. And then it's literally like the whole crew is like, guys, we're waiting on the lighting crew here. We're waiting on the lighting crew. They're just bringing up some lamps. Okay, hold shooting until we can get it. And it's just fucking battle stations it's on. And I was just like, holy shit. Sean just like, he just broke in half to the whim of the director of photography.
Yes.
Like, and I mean, whatever, fair enough. But
that was their first film together, and he didn't know him that well. And
oh yeah,
yeah,
and he was a big time. That was Don McAlpine, right?
Yes,
he was like world famous cinematographer. He's like,
mate, the guy shot White Man Can't Jump. I mean,
White Man Can't Jump.
I'm pretty sure.
And Predator.
Yeah,
he did some shit.
Aussie guy.
But it was just like we're the foot soldiers, and our leader has just like keeled over, and it's a situation of the show must go on at whatever cost. Make it happen.
So what did we do? You got a better memory than I do.
I think Penny organised it.
Penny
Aku.
Mate, he organised everything.
It was like, because Penny had the rig. So it's like, we get to pack the thing and fucking sling it to a helicopter and fly it up here. We'll make it happen and whatever. I mean, it's amazing, right? What
fucking trucks.
What a team of like motivated diehard foot soldiers can do when the leader says this is what has to happen. I think prior to that call, we would have said, no, it's impossible. You can't have an 18K. It's too windy. It's too treacherous. And fucking 30 minutes later, we got one and we made it work.
Yeah.
So it's that thing of like, you can do the impossible. What was seemingly absolutely out of the realm of reality is now happening.
God, it's a good story. That type of stuff, I probably like those type of scenarios where something couldn't happen, but then happened. Probably happened 1,000 times in the during that time. But it's hard to recall because it does happen. You fucking put a lamp over water, and you couldn't imagine that happening. But it's like, just get the guys, build the decks, get the crane, put the power in, get an electrician, ground it out, do all the safety. They just do it. Yeah.
Fucking get it done.
You just do it. It's incredible. That was taking me back. I remember when Penny, we had the 100K. So we were talking about 618 with the 100K Soft Suns.
Which was the biggest lamp I've ever laid my eyes on. Have you ever seen anything bigger than that?
I think that would be the biggest physically. It was a shit design, by the way.
It's 100,000 watts.
Yeah.
The globe was 8 foot long.
But it didn't actually put that much out. Like it did, but it wasn't the best design because what it was housed in was fucking like a tank. It was pretty shitty, and it was made for Matrix, I think, and Panavision just shaped it out with all of their workshop, and it was great, but it was quite a lot of stuff that went on behind that globe to actually get it somewhere. The big housing, big stands, freaking big cable
runs,
had 3
big
stands
inverters for one lamp.
Yeah.
And the globe took 2 people to get it out of a case and then carry it with fucking white cotton gloves and mount it.
Yeah. And we had to move it across the battlefield at the base of this mountain that Joe was talking about. And, it was like loading it on. I don't know if we were using Manitous to move it and stuff like that. But Penny got the helicopter over. He was just like, what's that helicopter doing? Get him to come over here. Throw a sling on it, throw slings on this thing with the stands and all, and just like slung it around. They just chopped it and just lifted it and just basically moved it in a fraction of the time from one end of this place to the other end of the battlefield. It was masterful. Fuck, he's a legend. He's so good at his job.
Do you remember the first,
Penny
coming onto that film, shout Penny, amazing guy. Do you remember, the Soft Sun, that lamp, was a bit of a thing for us coming onto the job. It was like, we're going to be using the 100K Soft Sun on this gig. It was like, it's 100, fuck, that's a big lamp. And it's like, guys, this thing is enormous. It's kind of like, it's like you're in the military and they're like, hey guys, we've invented these new laser guns. You guys are all going to get them when you get deployed. You're like, holy shit. It's like, right? Like it's like new technology. And the the thing about it was, guys, this lamp is so big, you can't be moved by hand. You can only move it with a forklift, or like in the studio, or if you're out on location, it's a Manitou, which is like
a forklift on four-wheel drive with
exactly
telescopic arms.
So I was like, yeah, and we were like, holy shit, that's serious. They're like, yeah. So it's the kind of light where it gets mounted before the shoot, you put it in place, and then if it needs to relocate, it can only happen like overnight. So it's like, we're like, okay, cool. Like it's kind of, we're not really dealing with it. It's more of the rigging electrics guys, because they're going to come in and do it when we're shooting. And I remember that fucking bush that we're in, like that jungle. It was when we were doing the
little river.
You were doing the day for night, Mirabai, I think, or something like that. We were doing the day for night shoots with the White Witch or whatever she was called. And it was like, wow, there's the soft sun. It's mounted over there. Look how big that thing is.
We'll shoot around that light.
Yeah, like guys, and Sean was like, boss man, Sean was like, we're just going to have to move the shoot accordingly because that lamp can't move. And then obviously somewhere through the day, Sean had a conversation with the cinematographer, Don. And next thing on the radio, Sean's like, we're going to need to move that soft sun. And we're like, I don't even know if I butted in, like as a junior. I'm like, oh no, we can't, Sean. It can't be moved by hand. He's like, we're going to need to move it right now. I need guys over there. Let's move it. And we're like, we're not, no one's meant to touch it. And it's like, find a fucking way, pick it up and move it. And we did. And it was like 6 guys managed to fucking move this thing.
And that's at the precedent basically for the rest of the time. It's like once you move it, then it was just moving all the time, which meant we had more people on standby, more gear, etc. And you know, that's it. That's what you do. That's the point that you're trying to make.
Fucking, I mean, you know, like
throw bodies of money at it.
Yeah, and backs. Like vertebra was sacrificed. As a young man in that game, I'm like, yeah, I sacrificed discs in order to fucking impress.
Cartilage was ground to dust.
But bringing that back to what we do now, I think there's really something in that was hyper valuable for us, which is like, you come to an obstacle that is seemingly insurmountable, and then it only takes one team member to go, no, we can do it. And you're like, oh, fuck, okay, we can do it. Like, and T, you know, I could say T has often been that guy, because he'll often, like, you know, because sometimes you think, is the cost worth it? Like, do I want 10 guys to go and bust their fucking spines in order to move that thing? And for the leader, Sean, he's like, yeah, 100%. I don't give a fuck about their spines. We're getting the job done. And it's like, I think back to like when we moved into this gym location, and there's like the cleanup that we did.
Oh, God.
You think about that couple of weeks and you're like, man, some of that shit was ridiculous. Where you're driving a forklift, I'm in the bucket of the forklift. We got fucking spray suits on like Breaking Bad meth producers, and we're spray painting the walls like with fucking like an air compressor. Yeah, like just, you're like, how did this shit end up happening? But it's like, wow, it got us to where it is. So I don't know. I mean, maybe those tasks are not immediately as insurmountable, but there is an element of, oh, can I be bothered to do this? Do I really have the energy?
Yeah.
And it only takes one person to go, well, you have to. And then you're like, oh, I got the energy.
Yeah. And I guess for owning a gym, like if you don't know what it's like a small business. For any small business, it's like you have limited resources, including limited people. And you've got many hats to wear, and you've got many things to look after. And in any day or part of the process of building a business or running it, something just can go wrong, and it often does, or something just changes, and it often does. In the build, you know, you got to save money. You got to do what you can. Yeah, we're painting this back wall. We've got to do it now. We didn't foresee that happening, but if we don't paint it now, it's near impossible, more costly later. So we're staying back late. We're gonna ring up a painter friend of ours and get him to come and help us figure out how the best way is to do it. He's going to teach us how to do it, and then we're going to go off and he's going to check in on us, and we're going to do it ourselves. And yeah, it's and then it comes down to, you know, when you're running the gym itself, like you said, if something happens to a coach, you know, your service and your products, it's still got to go out, and the show must go on. You just have to find a way to do it. And small business isn't easy, and it's not for everyone, but you have to possess that ability to roll with the punches, or you need to adapt to that and learn how to roll with the punches. And it's a very never say die attitude when you're starting up. for sure. Because if you lay down when the first bit of adversity comes at you, then you're just not going to make it.
No, you're not
going to make it.
And I mean, that's I often think that there's also a bit of an expiry date on that. Like you think about, say, the COVID thing and the lockdown and this need to come up with solutions to, newly imposed problems. If you'd been in the game for 30 years and you're kind of coming to the end of your tether a bit and the government's like, hey, you got to shut your gym and everyone's doing the online thing and parks and whatever, you'd be like, fuck this, I'm out. Like it would be potentially it'd be very hard to get the energy up at that point. There is like maybe expiry date's not the right way to put it, but it's not the case that you're necessarily always going to have that tenacity and drive to go, all right, I can overcome this. Because sometimes the juice is not worth the squeeze.
Yep. And I guess if I circle back to the idea of having, your goals in place and your purpose in place and being aware of that, that helps for you to make that decision about the squeeze. Because sometimes, like for instance, in that story you told about the light moving, like it's the squeeze isn't getting much juice for the person squeezing, but it was necessary for the person who was going to drink it. They only needed a little bit. And I'm probably explaining that wrong, but like you might have to, like for instance, right now we got to squeeze really hard just to maintain the tribe, and we're not, for the effort we're putting in, it's just about survival at this point, but it is worth it for us in the long run because we want this place to survive and we want to keep growing beyond these tougher times or these times of lockdown. But if you don't really want to keep going, or you're not looking to build a greater community with Jungle Alliance and whatnot, maybe you would lie down and just go, you know what, let's not do this anymore. That first lockdown.
Can't be bothered. And yeah, I mean
take up chess.
There's cannon fodder in that process, isn't there? And not to be derogatory about it, but it's like you lean on the coaches through a time like this. You're like, guys, I need you guys to be reaching out to the tribe. Like everyone's got to push, like everyone's got to contribute towards getting us through this thing for the sake of the collective, like for the sake of the organization, which is Sean going, hey guys, go and dust your discs for me, sacrifice your spines so that the lighting crew doesn't get a bad name and Don's happy. And it's like, all right, we'll do it, But there are times when you got to lean on your people to make shit happen.
Yeah, he was on the up and coming at that time, if I think about it, because he was doing, his first big American film was the one before, Stealth.
Yep.
And
Classic
then
film.
He got the call up for this one and Don McAlpine to have a relationship with him, he had a relationship with his gaffer for how many years? Decades and decades. So it was like, opportunity there. So he was there to please. He was never saying no.
No, it was all yes.
Yeah. That was the noise. Peniaku. Shouts.
Such a good guy.
Yeah.
One of the great characters of the Aussie film industry, or at least of my time and exposure to it.
Yeah.
He's pretty famous, like infamous. Everyone knows him, even if they don't know his name. They're like, oh, that Tongan guy.
Yeah, that's right.
Fucking legend.
Peniaku Loa. Get out of his way.
Bit in that. What about the managing relationships piece, like being in a team and that whole thing? Because there's a lot of with the demanding work schedules comes tiredness, comes irritability. And when you're working with other people, like you are in a gym here, it's easy to let that stuff get on top of you at times, become a bit snappy, let relationships between you and teammates fall apart. I found in the film industry that was really prevalent, like the need to not let shit fall apart. And you would have little run-ins with people, little arguments, but then you would kind of naturally try and patch it up.
Because the show must go on.
And you got to be working alongside each other, right?
That's right.
It's a lot harder if you hate each other.
Yeah, it is.
And you always seemed particularly good with that. You're a hard kind of shell to crack.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, whatever. I dealt with things, I guess, my own way. I'd hold on to things and then I'd lose it. You know, at another time, I'd just be really pissed and take it out some other way. But yeah, I was very suited to foot soldier, show must go on type of vibe. So I'd always be upbeat and can do and just making shit happen. I enjoy all of those challenges.
All had big dreadlocks, big thick dreadlocks back then.
Yeah.
And it'd just be him in his jeans, always in jeans,
For a
running
long
around,
time.
the dreadlocks just streaming behind you because you're always running to the next thing. And I'd be like, Paul, what are you doing? And you'd be like, oh, I'm taking care of that. I'm like, fuck, Paul's always onto something. You're
Always
always
moving.
preempting something.
Yep.
I was usually sitting down. I'll be like, man, you want to sit down and have a coffee? You're like, no, I'm working, bro. Okay, cool.
They call me Jaguar. Some people call me Jaguar.
Really?
Jaguar.
Jaguar.
Because I'd be running in the set with something.
Yeah,
I was eager to please all the time.
you were.
Still am. Yeah, definitely. That's how I rose to the ranks, bro.
True. One of the best. But did you have those? Did you ever have blow-ups with teammates?
Did I? I'm sure I did. I remember once going off at JK. Yeah, for sure, I did. People have told me I'm passive aggressive, and I tend to agree. I definitely did. I have my own way of getting things done when someone won't do it my way, which is, you know, I'll often just grab the shit off someone and do it myself.
Yeah.
You know, or I'll come in and I'll
Take over.
take over, especially when I was, you know, in more of a managerial role in some of the bigger teams. You know, I would just grab the gear and do it myself and show them how it's done, type of thing. But yeah, had lots of run-ins,
Which
and
is kind of necessary on a job like that that's very time sensitive.
yes,
It's not about us maintaining a group. It's about fucking do it.
yes,
Like 2 minutes ago.
yeah, that's right. So there's no meeting or email that goes out. It's just like get it done. But yeah, there's definitely run-ins, and you have to learn to often put those personal differences aside to get the job done, type of thing. Yeah. Yeah, and it's tough to do. Ultimately, it broke a lot of people's relationships, you know, or it brings out the worst in people. Any adversity does, but also brings the best out of people, which is the magic thing about being, you know, kind of facing a huge challenge or that you have to overcome. So yeah, fucking witnessed lots of blow-ups. I don't know if I saw any blues. I probably did, but there's some legendary ones out there where shit got physical.
What about me and Russ in Tamworth? You saw that, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Wasn't really a blue
It was a blue. It was a drunken
scuffle.
bear that was swinging for the moon, and you were just sliding underneath like Floyd Mayweather.
Around the belly.
Wow. Wow.
Just pulling my strikes. Could have knocked you out there. Could have knocked you out there. Yeah. Fat bastard.
That's right. That's the type of thing that, you know, these jobs, they build up. You get built tension and stuff. And I guess, you know,
Then you're out on the terps.
then you're out on the terps
And then it blows up.
And then it blows up. Exactly. That's what happened. That was an old versus fresh faced new kid. Smart ass.
Yeah, there's a bit of that. I got that a few times. I obviously gave off that vibe.
Cheeky bastard.
Still do.
Still do. But, you know, I don't wouldn't say that we have become experts at any of it, you know, and the relationship stuff. But I guess it's experience as well. Like if I think of, you know, it's just experience. You've seen those things, so it's therefore more familiar to you. And maybe you have learned bits and pieces, whether you've acknowledged them or not. Yeah, the more you're exposed to stuff like that, you do get better over time, hopefully, at dealing with it if you reflect on it. Yeah. How do you say that?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're never really experts at any of it, but there's a lot of inbuilt or inherent behaviors that you adopt when you're in that setting and you have to maintain relationships and focus on the job at hand that I think is very relevant to what we do now. Perhaps communication's not a big thing there, so it's not like you ever get a chance to really communicate, hey man, I've been feeling a bit of, ill will towards you or whatever. Like you never have those chats. We never had those chats back then. That's something that we've adopted more recently now, where it's like the job is the most important thing, and you get through the obstacles and you find solutions for them. And then when the time is right, you reconvene and you're like, hey man, I got a bone to pick with you. I got to tell you,
Yeah.
So I think that's a thing, but I really like the idea of getting the job done and putting the work first. I think that's been something very pivotal for us, and it's like to our, relative success, and to be able to just like suck up your own ego. Like maybe you wanted to come up with the solution, or maybe you wanted to be the one that put it. It's like, no, your solution's good enough and this thing's urgent. Yep, I'm behind it. And then to give your full support of it and to go, all right, I'll back it.
Yeah.
Like that was always something that stood out in the film industry, which was there's a time pressure to everything. There's a crew that are shooting. There's actors that are on set. It's fucking happening now. Oh, the power's gone out. Okay, we need to fix this like fucking immediately. And there's 100 different ways to go about fixing it. So at some point, you have to just go with someone's decision. Like, this is what I think it is. All right, let's go. And you have to go, yeah, good enough, action. Did we fix it? Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Right? It's not about, well, let's toss up the pros and cons of the best approach and then let's decide together on the best one, because your ideas are important as well. Like none of that matters. And I think I think I've mentioned this quite a bit over the years with us, but I think that's always been a real strength of ours, which is to go, yes, your idea is good enough. Let's go.
That's a really good, that's a really good point to make. And I can't help but think about in the industry, that little thing that would often happen with when you're in a rush and something so simple as a cable run. And I'll give the example, like, we've got to get we're shooting here at the front of the gym. We've got to get a lamp onto the other side of the street. And you're like, okay, well, how are we going to fucking power that? Oh, well, we're just going to put cable ramps across the road and throw the cable. We need to get it there like as soon as possible. And you're like, no, really, we should fucking get that second generator, take it around there and have that next to the lamp, and that would be better because then we could move it if it needs to. But you decide to just run it straight across the road, and and I'm like, well, fuck it, you've started it, and let's do it, and I'll just go with that example with your call there. But then it becomes evident that it's going to be moving more and more. We don't have any more cables, so it's like, fuck, Joe. Well, look,
brought the Jenny around.
I can see this is going to happen. Let's go get the other Jenny around. We'll bring it over, get some cable in it, and have it on standby there. We'll run it out next to that lamp, and when we get an opportunity, we'll switch it off. We'll turn it. We'll switch it off. We'll recable it and switch it back on again, and they won't know. We just need a little window of 4 minutes to let it cool down, and then switch it back on. That sort of thing. So it's like you had already started. We didn't have time to argue. We're going to do it that way. Then we're going to reassess it. And then we're going to make a plan on how to change it so it's better and more serviceable. There's more longevity to it. And then we're going to have the plan for the transition. We did it. Boom, it's done. And we cleaned it up and there's no harm. And it's like, okay, we learn for the next time. But yeah, that happened all the time with cable runs and shit.
Totally. And you could argue like, yeah, you could be like, oh, but what if? And it's like, we don't even have time to have this conversation. What if?
Yeah.
Idea is good enough. It's coming from you. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
But then
get it up for this shot and
exactly
double down to get it. Yeah.
And that double handle, triple handle thing.
Yes.
Which is not always the most efficient way to go about things. But in that situation, it works really well. So I think like here, decisions tend to be less immediate than that. But there still is an element of that. It's like, all right, let's go. And then we can reconsider it afterwards and then make a transfer as needed.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Mate, it's exciting stuff. Every time we talk about this, I feel like we could talk more and more about it. We'll close it up there for today because that's been a good chunk for the people. But yeah, it is interesting to look back at what you've done in past careers and think about how that's influenced what you're able to do now. I was actually thinking it'd be cool to do an episode down the track where we talk about other jobs we've had, because I know that there's been some other jobs outside of film, small little stints here and there that would be kind of interesting to reflect on and see what they've given us.
I've done nothing else but film. What else did I do?
Didn't you work at the filler shop?
Yeah, I did.
About that? Sure, you done some other shit in there somewhere.
Yeah.
You almost became a cameraman.
I also worked at a hostel. Yeah, but yeah, for sure.
It's a gig.
It's a gig.
Big shout out to Panavore. Big working in a hostel. Enough said. Big shout out to Panavore. We're drinking their coffee today. I was training Tree this morning. Absolute legend. Guys, get over to their cafe if you can. They're open through lockdown. Go get some takeaways. Get yourself a sandwich, the Joey special. If you need anything from us, junglebrothers.com. If you enjoyed the episode, please share it with a friend. Take a screenshot. Post it on your IG. Tag us at Jungle Brothers Movement. That's our Instagram account. We appreciate you helping to support the show. And we hope you guys are holding down well through the lockdown. If you need training solutions, we have over 5 classes a day going on. So get in touch. It's all happening online. If you've got a computer and internet connection and a piece of floor space the size of a jail cell, you can participate.
Correct. Lots of good work can be done from home.
100%. Keep the morale high. We've still got at least another couple of weeks in this thing. We'll see you guys next week.
See you.